Okay, I'm sorry it took me so long to get this done, but I'm going to attempt to do a recovery video for the test that was on Halloween. It was test on expressions and one-step equations 2.4. So I'm just going to kind of go section by section. So this was test 2.4. And it happened on Halloween, in case you're trying to figure out which test it is you're trying to fix. Depending on who your teacher is, how that teacher gave it back to you, how they're asking you to recover it, all that's kind of individual teacher stuff. This is just a video to help you kind of get a grasp on what you might have missed or the mistakes you might have made. I would say in general, the mistakes I saw with my students were integer related. So I thought maybe I would review that part first. You have to remember the integer rules. And in case you've forgotten what integers are, they are all the numbers that look like this, not fractions, not decimals, and all the negative to negative infinity, and all the positive to infinity, if negative infinity is a real thing. But those integer rules have to do with how integers are treated with all four operations. I'm going to do the easy one first. With multiplication and division, and this poster is up in my room, and I don't know how many other teachers have used this, but that's not what I wanted to do. If you are multiplying or dividing a positive times a positive, or a positive divided by a positive, the answer is going to be positive. And that goes the same for a negative times a negative. That's going to be a positive. So these are kind of easy. Then if they're different, if it's a negative and a positive, the answer is negative. And if it's a positive and a negative, the answer is negative. So really it's, if you're into computer stuff, it's a little bit binary. They're the same or they're different. You only have two choices. If they're the same, it's positive. If they're different, it's negative. So those are the easy ones. The hard stuff comes in with adding and subtracting. The kids in my class learn the song, same signs add and keep, different signs subtract. Take the sign of the highest number, then you'll be exact. And as an example, let's say we have negative 10 plus 17. These signs are different, so I have to subtract. So the first thing I do is, well, 17 minus 10 is 7. And then I take the sign of the highest number, and that's just probably not a very mathematical way of saying the absolute value of each number. The absolute value of 17 is 17, and the absolute value of negative 10 is 10. And the largest one is the 17, which is positive, so the answer is positive 17. That's a lot of steps. That's why kids mess up on this stuff a lot. And then to top all that off, there's another kind of exception kind of thing, where if you have 3 minus a minus 7, well, that minus a minus is a plus, actually. And a lot of math teachers have a lot of different ways of teaching that. So however your teacher taught you, I'm just reminding you that this is actually 3 plus 7, which is 10. So even if you can do all the other stuff, if you mess up your integer rules, you're going to end up with the wrong answer. All right, let's go through the different sections on the test. The first section of the test said, simplify each expression. I know in my class, I had some kids who tried to solve these, and they would write answers like, I don't know, v equals negative 7 or something like that. But these are not solvable. These are just cleaning them up. These are just fixing them. All right, okay, there we're back. All right, so I'm just going to make up an example that's kind of like one that's on the test. This is not the exact question that's on the test. But let's say we have negative 7x plus 4x. And we are simplifying. We're not solving, we're simplifying. And in this case, I have two terms. I have negative 7x and I have positive 4x. And they are like terms because they both have an x with the same exponent. I mean, there isn't an exponent, but they're not different because of exponents. So they're both just plain x terms, and I can put them together. And here's where the integer rules come in. It's negative 7 plus 4. Not same signs add and keep, different signs subtract. 7 minus 4 is 3. Take the sign of the highest number, then you'll be exact. So the final answer to this is I have negative 3x's. All right, that was a kind of an easy version of something that might have been in that test question. Let's try something different. There was a question kind of like this. The first thing I have to do is I have to distribute. Negative 7 times n is negative 7n. Negative 7 times negative 3 is positive 21. I bring that down. Now I have to look at this and see, how many terms do I have? I have negative 2, negative 7n, and plus 21. This one is the only n term, so that just stays the way it is, negative 7n. But I can put these two together, and 21 minus 2 is one way of thinking about it, but a negative 2 plus 21. It's not same signs add and keep. It's different signs subtract. That's 19. Take the sign of the highest number, the 21, then you'll be exact. So you just have to be very careful that first, if there are parentheses involved, you're distributing. You are combining all the like terms correctly with the integer rules. And then if you can identify all the like terms and put them together, there is no solution. You're not going to have like a one-step equation where you have a variable equals something. That's not what these are like. All right, then the next section of the test was write each as an algebraic expression. Now, in my classes, I saw some students write it out in words again, and I didn't understand that part because these problems were already in words. And here would be an example. The sum of x and 22. The answer that we were looking for was x plus 22, because we have sum, which is adding, and we have x and 22. And there was a quotient problem on the test, which means you had to understand that that was division. There was a product question on the test. And by the way, the division part could be a fraction, right? If it was the quotient of x and 12, the answer would be x divided by 12. If it says the product of 7 and z, then that's going to be a coefficient 7. That's called a coefficient, and the z. And this is multiplication. And some people are still having a hard time remembering that's multiplication. And difference is subtraction. And in subtraction, it's really important that everything goes in the right order. You did not have a less than question, so that shouldn't have been too bad. I'm going to stop this here, and then I'll move on to the next part of the test.